Welcome to the Thrift Store Kitchen Review, where I test all the weird junk from the thrift store so you don't have to. Welcome to this week's edition of the Thrift Store Kitchen Review. The 1970s were a golden age of kitchen equipment design. Manufacturers found ways to innovate without overcomplicating. I've already reviewed the Little Mac fast cooker, which was just one example of the great products from the 1970s. Today I have another. Somebody at the Sunbeam company at one point said, hey, what if we could make a plastic stagecoach that can cook popcorn? And they decided to go with it. And I managed to find this device. Here I have the Sunbeam Great American Popcorn Machine. And I got this at Mostly Mutt's Marketplace in Ackworth, Georgia for $9.95. So how does our popcorn stagecoach work? Well, first you have this heating plate right here on which you put oil and popcorn kernels. Then you put the lid on top and you plug it in. This part right here, when you pull it back, reveals these holes. And what you do is you slice up butter and put it over the holes. And during the cooking process, it melts the butter and it rains down onto the popcorn. When the popcorn is done, you take the whole machine after unplugging it and removing the power cord. And then first you put this back on. You should probably not forget that step. And then you flip the whole thing over. You remove the lid, and here you have your popcorn bowl. Sounds pretty awesome in concept, and we're about to see it in action after I clean it up. I went ahead and cleaned the machine and got together everything we need. Now, I was not able to find an actual instruction manual online for this, and I had to kind of find bits and pieces. With these vintage items, manuals are hard to come by online. Newer stuff is easy to find. This was not. So from what I could find, basically the first thing I want to do is add a little bit of oil to the heating plate. That should be plenty. Then I want to add the kernels. It said for 4 quarts, which is what allegedly this machine holds, but that is not 4 quarts. But for 4 quarts it would be half a cup, so I'm going to use just a little less. So we have our popcorn here, and then I'm going to put the lid on. I'm putting the writing facing backwards so we can see everything going on. Then I have some cut up butter that we're going to put over the holes on the top of the machine. Good right there. And then we plug it in. This does not have an on-off switch. It turns on and off when it's plugged up. So now the machine's on, and shortly it should start heating up and popping the corn. I haven't used it, so let me just take the lid off for a sec and feel if it's heating. It is definitely heating, so it should not be long now. Here we go. The machine is starting to pop, and you can see the butter on the top is just now starting to melt. Now that's popping, it should not take long to get it to the end of the process. Basically, we wait until we hear it at about 2 to 3 seconds between pops. At that point, it is done, and then we unplug the machine. The popcorn definitely has quite the nice smell when it's cooking. Now, the only thing I worry about is that the popcorn will finish with the butter not being melted all the way, and then I'm going to have to clean up the remaining solid butter in order to be able to turn the machine back over. But now that the popcorn's going, it does seem to be melting a lot faster. I'm going to go ahead and unplug it because the popcorn doesn't really seem to be popping anymore. Maybe I should have used more kernels. I was just basing everything off estimates. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to flip it over, but that is hot. Let me go get some oven mitts. All right, let's see if I can get this flipped safely. All right, let me take this off. Yeah, that does appear to have burned some. I believe I overcooked it. I thought that I needed less popcorn, when in reality I needed more. Definitely burnt. But with these older machines, it really is trial and error. So I'm going to go get some more kernels and we're going to do it again. All right, I wiped down, washed up. Let's see if round 2 will work out any better. So I'm going to add the oil again. I'm going to use a little more this time. Got more popcorn kernels this time. Let me also spread the oil some across the surface. Pour the popcorn in. Now I'm going to put the lid on. And this time I also sliced the butter a little thinner. So it should all definitely melt this time around. Put this all over the holes. All right, let me plug this in and see how it turns out this time. It just now started to pop because the machine had already been warmed up and was still slightly hot. It took a little bit less time to get going. So I'm going to let this pop and we'll see how it turns out this time around. The thinner sliced butter seems to be melting better this time. And the popcorn's going. I can still see through here and there that there's still a decent amount of kernels left. As soon as it hits that 2 to 3 seconds between pops, though, I'm going to stop it quickly this time to ensure that it doesn't burn like it did on the first batch. I thought there was more to go when really there unfortunately was not. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Apparently, I could use even more kernels next time I do this, but we're going to go with what we have. Like I said, it's all a matter of trial and error. So let me go ahead and put the gloves on, pull the cord out, and flip the machine. Shake it up. Put this out of the way. You can see that popcorn. I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to a larger bowl. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unpopped corn in there still and a lot of burn. So maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it seems that the modern popcorn poppers are definitely the way to go. Let me give it a taste regardless. Yeah, it's definitely overdone. Unfortunately, not very good. While I'm sure there's a way to use this that maybe somebody else knows better than me, it hasn't worked that well for me. But before I'm done with this, I'm going to clean it up one more time and we're going to give this machine its final test. While I didn't have the best of luck making popcorn with the Great American Popcorn Machine, we're about to find out if it is useful for something and see, will it glizz? Now, what I'm going to do here, I actually have 2 hot dogs. I have the regular hot dog, and I have one that I have stuffed with popcorn kernels, and we're going to see what happens. Probably not going to actually eat that one. I'm going to go ahead and put some oil on the base, plug it in, and then I'm going to put the hot dogs on here and close the lid. Let me turn that around so we can see all the action and let it start to cook. It does heat up very quickly. I've only been cooking it for about a minute, and you can see that the oil is already bubbling and sizzling, and those hot dogs are cooking quite fast. So let's let the machine keep running here. Go ahead and flip that. The normal dog has cooked just a little. Let me turn the popcorn dog downward so the kernels are making direct contact with the oil. I should probably have taken that off to let it vent. Yeah, now the kernels are falling out of the hot dog, unfortunately. That's not what I wanted. I want them to pop inside the hot dog if they do. One that fell out of the hot dog just popped. Let me remove that from the machine. The hot dog is cooking very quickly in here. Another one just popped. Let me remove that so that it doesn't burn. The regular hot dog looks done. Let me check this one out while the other one cooks, see if we can get those kernels in there to pop. And I break that hot dog open. It's definitely done inside. Let me put on the bun, see how it tastes. There goes another kernel. The hot dog itself isn't bad. Looks like one of the kernels inside the hot dog attempted to pop. I'm going to leave this up here just another minute or so. That hot dog is looking pretty burnt right now. Don't want to cause any fires. That would be bad. All right, let's see it one more time. All right, well, this grand experiment was a failure. Just thought it would be fun to do. I'm going to put this in the garbage. I'm going to clean this machine up. And then I'm going to give you my final verdict on the Great American Popcorn Machine. So what's my final verdict on the Great American Popcorn Machine? Well, I didn't have a lot of luck with this thing, as you saw. It's a bit older. I may be doing something wrong. It may just run too hot at this point in its lifespan. I don't know. Something like this is going to take a little bit of trial and error. Luckily, trial and error with popcorn kernels and oil is not expensive like if it was trial and error with something that was like cooking, I don't know, steak. So unfortunately, I can't really give a full verdict on this machine. I do like the design. It looks great, but unfortunately, the results were not what I was hoping for. I will keep trying, and if I'm able to figure it out, I will make a video about it in short form, which you'll be able to find either on my YouTube or on my TikTok. Well, thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the Thrift Store Kitchen Review. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us both on Facebook and TikTok, which are linked in the description below. Drop us a comment down there in the comment section. Tell your friends about us. Get out there and support your local thrift store, and have a wonderful day.